Welcome to our first hour of Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We're in Wisconsin for the bad boyfriend murder trial. Defendant Matthew Pahl is accused of murdering his on-again, off-again girlfriend of 20 years, Stephanie Pavlons. Court's expected to start up at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So while we get ready, here's Court TV anchor Michael Ayala with the background of the case.
September 9th, 2022. A construction crew in Waukesha, Wisconsin finds the body of an unidentified female in a wooded area where they had been working. Days later, the woman was identified as 44-year-old Stephanie Pavlons.
To see this happen to her just breaks my heart.
Pavlons lived with her on-again, off-again boyfriend of 20 years, Matthew Pahl. According to court documents, police pulled the security video from their apartment complex, which showed Stephanie and Matthew leaving around 8:40 a.m. on August 23rd. She was wearing a black t-shirt and jeans, the same clothes she was wearing when her body was discovered. Matthew Pahl returned home alone about 3 hours later, and investigators found no evidence that she was ever seen or heard from again. Her mother spoke with local station WISN.
They couldn't come to a conclusion on how she had died, that it was undetermined. It was the cause of death.
Matthew Pahl faces charges of first-degree intentional homicide and hiding a corpse, despite the fact that the medical examiner was unable to determine a cause of death for Stephanie Pavlons. Pahl has pleaded not guilty, but if he's convicted, he could be sentenced to life in prison.
Michael Ayala reporting there. The state's case continues this morning. Detective Nathan Plennes returns to the stand for a continuation of his direct. While we wait, let's play you some unaired testimony from him from Thursday.
Do you remember Mrs. Pavlons specifically advising that there was some property of Stephanie's still at her parents' house?
Yes.
Mrs. Pavlons had Stephanie's belongings, is that right?
That's correct.
Do you remember she turned over a journal to you?
Yes.
Okay. And just so we're clear, we're talking about the same thing here. She, in fact, turned over 2 journals to you, correct?
We eventually got a second journal, correct?
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. One day and one a couple weeks later?
Correct.
Okay. Can you identify, I'm showing you exhibits 59 and 60.
Yep.
Okay. Actually, I'll just leave those right there for you if they're not in your way, sir. Those are the 2 journals that Mrs. Pavlons turned over to you.
That's correct.
And your understanding is that they were possessions of Stephanie?
Correct.
Move to admit 59 and 60, Your Honor.
No objection. Hang on. They're already admitted, I believe. Hang on. Yep, they're already admitted.
Okay, thank you, sir. Detective Plennes, if you...
Wait, just let me know. It took me about 30 seconds to find out, but it took her 5 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sorry. I have so many things I want to say, Judge. Let's start with Exhibit 59. And you can physically hold that if that helps you, sir. I want to distinguish between these items somehow. So are they have some kind of label or cover to them?
Yes, Exhibit 59 has a cover that's, on the front of it, it says, "Love what you do."
Okay, and do you know, are there any, you've seen the inside of this book?
Correct.
What is it?
It's like a daily planner. It's a planner. It's got calendar entries. It's got room for notes.
Okay. And do you know, or can you tell by looking at the cover, the dates that it involved?
I believe the Love What You Do was, I don't remember exactly if it was May of 20 to June of 21.
Okay.
Not exactly. I guess I'd be guessing to say that I know exactly what dates this one has, but.
Sure, okay. And then the one next to you, number 60, please. Can you describe that one?
This one is, it's got a cover and it says Day Designer, and it has the dates of 21 to 22. 2021 to 2022.
Are there months associated with that? Or does it just say the years?
That just says the years.
Okay. And after Mrs. Georgianne Pavlons turned those items over to you, did you have an occasion to go through these journals or calendars?
Yes.
Did you go through each one thoroughly
Yes.
and note anything that may be relevant to this investigation? Is that right?
That's correct.
In preparation of trial, did we identify some excerpts from the journal that may be relevant for the jury?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put up for the witness only, please, Exhibit 139.
All right, it's up.
Do you recognize Exhibit 139?
Yes.
What is that?
This will be the Love What You Do planner.
Some excerpts from that planner?
Correct.
Okay. And does the page you're seeing, which is page 1 of 12, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell from that what dates it relates to?
This has July 10th of 2020.
And Ms. Gussie's just scrolling down so you can kind of get an idea.
Yeah. I think that was through April of 2021.
Okay. And then there's a notes section, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you've seen now all 12 pages, correct, Detective?
Yes.
And do you believe these, what's displayed here in Exhibit 139 is a true and accurate representation of pages excerpted from Exhibit 59?
Yes.
Okay. Move to admit, permission to publish, Your Honor.
No objection. Okay, 139 is admitted.
So we're going to go through these entries, and as always, we're going to ask you to read slowly.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So beginning on page 1, you said the first entry is July 10th of 2020.
That's correct.
Please read that entry to the best of your ability.
Played tennis, got slapped in face and chest over pills again, even though, yes, they fall out of package, but I did not try to take them. Bad day.
All right, next entry for July 14, 2020.
Rotated tire on car at storage was a up and down experience. Threatened me again with violence, but no hitting. Looks like no work today, thunderstorms.
Page 2. July 20th of 2020. Please read.
100-foot extension cord, and it says it's crossed out, wet, dry sandpaper, shoestrings, 7:45-5 p.m. Had a good day at work until I came home and he thought there was smoke left there. Wasn't. Gave me a good hard slap to my face, which stung and gave me a migraine. Good day, bad night. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is why I want to die sometimes. Again, blamed for something I didn't do. Blamed for taking 2 Z's, again, even though I didn't.
And do you know what the reference to a Z means?
Yeah, that would reference normally Xanax, which is a prescription medication.
And Xanax is really spelled with an X, correct? X-A-N-A-X?
Correct.
But in your work as a detective, especially in the drug field, you know that people commonly think it's really spelled with a Z
That's correct.
because of the pronunciation.
Yes.
Okay. So a Z commonly refers to Xanax,
Correct.
which is alprazolam by brand name?
Yes.
Or, yes, Xanax is the brand name, alprazolam is the generic name.
Correct.
And you know that to be a benzodiazepine?
Yes.
Okay. All right, July 21, 2020?
It says 10:30-4:30. Pretty good day.
Go ahead.
I sent him to roll up windows in car and truck. He left the keys on, the ignition switch on in the car, and drained the battery. Had to jump start car with truck, and of course I get blamed and he gets mad. He just doesn't know how to accept that he can do dumb things too. In reality though, it's just easier to blame me. And when I say something about it, stop talking, I can't read that word right now, or you're done, even though they are prescribed to me. Why couldn't you have taken me instead of Rich?
Do you have any idea what that reference is to taking me instead of Rich?
I believe that was her brother that had passed.
Stephanie had a brother that passed away?
Yes.
Okay. Keep going down on page 2. We're now on August 2 of 2020.
Correct.
Please read it.
It says there's an N/W, 2 cuts, bump on head from getting smashed with bottle, from taking one of my own Z's.
Next page, please, or next entry. August 3, 2020.
9:30-5:15 p.m. Today was a slow start, but once we got going, it was better. Ended on a good note. Head hurts really bad. I really don't know if I need stitches or not, because I can't see the cuts, only feel them. Hopefully be a little better tomorrow. I have 3 huge lumps on my head for taking a med prescribed to me, but no okayed by him. When needed, make sure I always have clean buckets in car.
Okay, next date of August 14, 2020.
7:50 a.m.-4 p.m. Had another really great day with a smiley face. Finally, a week where there was no fighting, hitting, or anything else. My head is just about healed also.
Okay, before you go on, Detective, you said you've reviewed this entire book, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that there are, we haven't pulled them out, but there are also entries throughout the book where Miss Stephanie Pavlons appears to be positive and upbeat in her entries?
Yes.
And she'll remark when there's good days and things are going well between her and Mr. Pahl?
Yes.
And between the total history of a year, the length of a year that's recorded or documented in her journal, would you agree it's kind of up and down?
Yes.
And there's, could be days or weeks where she says everything's fine, no problems?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, if we could please go on then to August 20 of 2020.
8:30-4:45. It says 8 1/4 hour. It was a okay day, but a terrible night. Soon as I got home, because he gave me a bindle and he thought I took it, even though he did give it to me.
We have some breaking news coming from Florida. In the courtroom where defendant Alicia Andrews is on trial, being accused of one of the participants in the ambush attack on rising rap star Julio Folio. Alicia Andrews has just confirmed that she will be taking the stand. I want to show you a live look at the courtroom. There she is, getting ready to go before the jury, preparing with her attorneys, the jury not yet in the box. This could make or break the case against her. She's the only female defendant and the only one of the group of 5 defendants who doesn't have a capital case. The state of Florida is seeking the death penalty against the other 4 defendants. They're not seeking it against Alicia Andrews. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get ready to watch this together. We're not quite sure how soon the jury is going to be brought in. Could be any minute now. We'll hit our break. So when we come back, we're covering this case for you as well as the case in Wisconsin, we were just showing you, the bad boyfriend murder trial. Stay with us.
Abby Werner, she was a teacher who was shot by her student. Her student was 6 years old.
She is now suing for $40 million.
They didn't call security, they failed to act, and Abby was shot.
Proper protocol was not followed. Their side battling that it is part of the job, just outrageous.
The first grader shoots teacher civil trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Got a lot cooking this morning. We're getting ready for a defendant to take the stand in Florida, and we're in Wisconsin for the bad boyfriend murder trial as well, getting ready for that day of testimony to start up any minute. So while we wait on things in Florida, I want to take you there. Nothing's happening in Florida. In Wisconsin, we've got the bad boyfriend murder trial, and we've got this guy on trial who lived with his girlfriend on again, off again, 20 years. They share a child together. The victim's mother has said she suspected her daughter was a victim of domestic violence in this relationship, and her body was found badly decomposed in the woods. So let's go back in. We got the detective on the stand. This is some unaired footage we didn't get to air for you on Thursday.
Find it. Went into a yelling fit and put me into a crying mess. Thought he was going to hurt me.
Okay, next entry, please. August 21, 2020.
9-3:45. It's a 6 3/4 hour. Horrible day. Remembered that the package was in yellow shirt pocket after he almost left me at storage. Was horrible to me all day until I told him over and over that I did not take it, and showed him that when we finally got home. If I'm so important to him, why does he make me feel so useless? I hate the highs and lows. Feeling he makes me feel.
Thank you. Next, August 28, 2020.
It just says N/W. Cleaned around the house, and in doing so, kicked a little piece of bud. So he kicked or punched me in the tailbone, which I believe is now bruised on the inside because it hurts to sit, bend, and squat. Made me take 2 bike rides even though he saw me like that. Checked out house in Pewaukee.
Next entry, August 30, 2020.
Black and blue eye over a pill I didn't take, and butt still hurts and will all week.
Of 2020, starting with the first.
It says call Mary Ann, has the number 751-4001, and it says 800 roughly. 134 Terrace Lane, Heartland. South and east end of house, scraped, primed, painted. 1-2 day job. 10 p.m., 4:30 p.m., 6.5, and it's got 41 hours total. Told him about blown eardrum at end of day.
I'm going to ask you to stop there for a minute. Detective Plennes, later in your testimony, we're going to talk about a number of records that you obtained during this investigation, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember receiving medical records documenting that Stephanie Pavlons had a blown eardrum?
Yes.
And that she received some treatment for that in October of 2020?
Yes.
About the middle of October 2020, based on the doctor's records?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, continue, please. We're September 2, 2020.
It says 8:30-2. Got paid through today. Today was okay. I told him next time he ever lays a hand on me, I have to leave him. I can't give him sex anymore because I feel nothing toward him, and all I feel from him and see out of his eyes is hate. He is making me so sick to my stomach to be around him, and I'm scared to death of him. I need help from someone, and I have no one.
Next entry, please. October of 2020 on the 29th.
Again, it says N/W. Terrible day. He again thought I took pills from him, which I did not. Got punched in the nose, hit 2 times in the head, and thought for sure I was going to have a complete mental breakdown. I walked right up to a moving train and came within inches of throwing myself right under it. I had an excellent day with him yesterday at work, and we even made love twice in the middle of the night. Finally felt close to him again. I can't keep going through these mental and emotional ups and downs. I will either wind up in a mental home or 6 feet under. I feel so hopeless, worthless, and most of all, hurt.
Next entry on November 19, 2020.
There's numbers on top of the page. It's 1869613, and it has parentheses MCD. It's got, I guess, a frown face, and it says 9-4:45 p.m. Really bad morning after leaving home. Almost got kicked out of truck because I ended up taking more than half a quail, and he got really mad, so he punched me in the chest about 5 times. Made all the great days and nights we were having together disappear. I'm sure he felt better after he got high and did.
Who kept a journal, and thank goodness she did, right? So we can understand what she was going through. Let's bring in our legal analyst guest, trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg is with us this morning. Alexis, good morning to you. Share with us your thoughts, please, as you're listening to what Stephanie Pavlons wrote in her journal.
Julie, like you said, it's so great that she kept this so we know what was going on. It's almost her talking from the grave. She's going through this escalation. It's pretty textbook domestic violence is what we're hearing. This escalation of violence, how it seems like it's almost daily or pretty much daily in some form. And that she was just in such a state of being battered, and her emotional state had been torn down to the point where she possibly was thinking about committing suicide.
Right. You can just feel the despair, can't you, as you hear some of the things she's writing when she's talking about not wanting to be intimate with him anymore. She doesn't feel anything for him, how she's trying to set a boundary. It's really sad. She's trying to set a boundary and say, if you hit me one more time, I will leave you. And clearly he's not respecting her or her boundaries, and she was trapped in this vicious cycle. Alexis, tell me, this guy on trial looks real bad sitting there having this evidence being brought in. And we know there were other pieces of corroborating evidence, like he never reported her missing. Surveillance video from their apartment shows them both leaving together on August 23rd, but only him returning on that video. He's got her purse, though, and her water bottle in his hands. And so those are just a couple pieces of evidence against him. Not good. Tell me your thoughts on his chances at trial here, Alexis.
I think his chances are low. I'm going to predict the future that he's going to be convicted. The defense attorney is going to have to really hook into the fact that those journals said that she was in a suicidal state. I mean, because there are statements about the last one we just heard, the train. So they're going to have to really hook into that, is really because these entries are so damaging to the defense, because it really, the jury can definitely see the jump that he went too far, she fell over and hit her head, or something of that nature.
Right, Alexis. Really appreciate the insight. Stand by, kindly, please. We're going to hit a break as we're at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we'll have more testimony in this trial. We also have the trial happening in Florida with defendant Alicia Andrews. This is over the death of rising rap star Julio Fulio. And this woman's indicated she wants to take the stand. So we're waiting on that. Don't you go away. Get some more coffee. We'll be right back. Back to court we go in Wisconsin in the bad boyfriend murder trial for defendant Matthew Pahl. This guy's looking at life in prison if he's convicted of the intentional homicide of his girlfriend for 20 years, Stephanie Pavlons. She was killed back in August of 2022. And we were just looking back at some testimony from Thursday that we had never aired. And that was video of the evidence coming in from her journal that was able to be authenticated, put into evidence, and read to the jury so they could really get a sense of how she felt in this relationship with Matthew Pahl. She was no doubt a victim of domestic violence, according to the journal. And here we see the judge taking the bench. We see Mr. Pahl there by his attorney. It's kind of hard to see the side of his head, but that's him there with the glasses on, looking like his lawyers do. And they just summoned the jury. So this is day number 5 of this case. If you haven't followed it closely, essentially, this is a domestic violence case. Is he the one who did this? This is a question of whether he's the person who killed her. And it's my understanding that his attorneys are defending him on innocence grounds. This isn't a self-defense case or a justifiable homicide type case. My understanding is he's maintained his innocence, that he didn't do this. And someone else killed her and dumped her body. I see the defendant on his feet. Jurors coming into the courtroom. And I think we will have an audio signal in just a moment here.
All right, have a seat, everybody. Thank you very much. All right, all 14 jurors have returned. Good morning, everybody. I trust that you had a good evening. And we're going to start again. Detective, if you could stand up and raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. All right, have a seat. And of course, you still are Nathan Plennes, right?
That is correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So good morning, sir.
Good morning.
When we had left off yesterday, I had you read through a series of Skype messages that were exchanged between Mr. Pahl and a woman that you eventually identified as Norma Jean Desierto, correct?
Correct.
Was that a full and complete representation of all the messages between them?
No.
Just some selected excerpts we presented to the jury, correct?
Correct.
There'd be hundreds, if not thousands, of Skype messages between Mr. Pahl and Ms. Desierto in reality, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to now put up Exhibit 149 for the witness only, please.
All right, it's up.
And if you could just scroll down just a bit. Okay. Are you able to identify 149?
Yes.
What is 149?
These will be excerpts from Skype conversations between Mr. Pahl and Sherlyn Valente.
Ms. Valente is the second woman from the Philippines that he was communicating with on a regular basis?
That's correct.
Okay. And sorry if you said this, what method or application were they using to communicate?
These were Skype.
And these were retrieved or extracted directly from Mr. Pahl's phone that was seized in 2022?
Correct.
Okay. Do you believe Exhibit 149 is an accurate representation of some of the messages between Mr. Pahl and Ms. Valente?
Yes, it is.
I'll move to admit 149, permission to publish, Your Honor.
All right, any objection?
No, sir.
All right, it's admitted.
So we're going to have you read through these again. Unfortunately, there's more of these than there was yesterday, but please read slowly. And if you could, I guess for ease, we didn't make a record of this yesterday, but we've
shaded Mr. Pahl's conversation in green and Ms. Valente is the color blue, correct?
Correct.
And we've noted the date and time that these conversations are occurring?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with line 2 on this page, which is page 1.
This is an outgoing message from Mr. Pahl on August 19th, 2022 at 6:43 a.m. Also, you really had no reason to apologize to Stephanie. That was my conclusion after reading your text. It had nothing to do with anything she said. In fact, I don't even talk to her about you. I don't even like talking to her because she just thinks about herself recently anyways. I'm asking you to just leave her alone for now. That's just basically an emergency contact. I don't think she will be a good friend anyways. Sherlyn Valente responds 8/19/22 at 6:46 a.m. She didn't respond yet, so I guess she wouldn't talk to me anymore. Whether she takes it or not, I apologize for my own peace of mind. Matthew Pahl, outgoing on 8/19/22, 7:12 a.m. No of that matters because I asked you once already to stop. I'm not someone at school where your word supersedes everyone else. So I have to tell you this way, don't make me ask you again because I will set it up. I will set it up. Won't be able to talk to her. Also, not only we will be checking on your attorney, but we will be making another stop. And by chance, if you do not agree, then I know I can't proceed with you any further. So I'm not just giving you time to think about it because you won't be able to hide if you're playing games with me. So I'm not going to mention this again until I get there. Valente responds on 8/19/22 at 7:15 a.m. Yeah, none of that matters. It's up to you, hon. Matthew Pahl responds 8/19/22 at 7:29 a.m. So you don't understand? I know it's up to me, just like it's up to you if you want to be honest. If not, then I'll move on. Matthew Pahl again responds at 8/19/22 at 7:30 a.m. I have a lot to do. Sherlyn Valente responds 8/19/22 at 7:31 a.m. I said I do understand. I mean it's okay for me, whatever it is, as long as it is safe. Because I don't have any idea. Matthew Pahl responds 8/19/22 at 7:32 a.m. It's getting close, so I'm just not going to play games with my future. Of course it's going to be safe, but I'm just not going to tell you until I get there. Sherlyn Valente responds 8/19/22 at 7:33 a.m. Okay, you said it is safe, and I trust you. That means...
So this defendant, the detectives found, was communicating with some other women online. We're going to pause the testimony right here. We'll get you back into the courtroom live right after this.
I ended up asking him if he loved me. He said, I don't know. I said, do you love her? He said, I don't know.
That set you off?
Someone was stabbed?
Yes, she's on the floor.
I didn't have the intent to kill Sarah. I really just wanted to scare them.
It looks more like fury than fear. Did you kill Sarah to possess what she had with Josh?
Sorry.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. So we got some news in Florida. Defendant Alicia Andrews is on the witness stand. This woman is accused of being part of the ambush attack that killed rising rap star Julio Folio. He had a ton of followers online. And this incident in question involved some gang activity. And this woman right here on the stand that you see is said to have been dating one of the gang members, and prosecutors allege that she was part of the planning and the execution of this event. So we're going to get to watch her testimony live today here on Court TV after our editors drop some of the names from it. We have some restrictions from the court. There are some names that are not permitted to be broadcast. So we have to hold off on showing it live, if you will, in real time while we run it through to make sure we're not sharing anything that is restricted by the court, and then we will roll it out for you. So that being said, she's on the stand, things getting underway in that Florida case. And we've got a detective on the stand in Wisconsin in the bad boyfriend murder trial for defendant Matthew Pahl. And this is fitting this case is happening in the month of October because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that is really what this case is all about. It's about the relationship between him and the victim. So let's go back in together now. We're hearing some text messages that the defendant sent to some other women that he was communicating with.
While making me suffer half the day. I did not fall asleep until midnight because his needs are greater than mine.
Next page, please. November 20, 2020.
9:30-4. Started off and had okay day, even though my anxiety is through the roof. See, he needs 3 Z's today because of, it looks like Judy. So I again are going to have to suffer because he refuses to take the meds he's prescribed and instead take mine. And when he gets low, guess who suffers? Me. Even though he should be the one to cut down, he doesn't. It's going to take another while to get back to feeling how happy I was, feeling when I woke up yesterday morning before getting punched 5 times in the chest.
Next entry, December 14, 2020.
It says there's an email address. It's phoenix48481@gmail.com. And then it's SAM for SHELT, %8! It was terrible. Had blood come out of my butt for the 2nd time in a week while pooping, and a lot of stress today with electronic devices. Almost hope I have some sort of cancer so I can leave this earth early to stop suffering so much.
Next entry, March 25, 2021.
Got OC, took whole bottle to rid myself of this wretched life of pain, misery, and hopelessness, and yet somehow I still survived. I don't know why.
Detective Plennes, the reference to OC, do you know what that may be?
Possibly Oxycontin?
Okay. That's a narcotic pain pill?
That's correct.
Okay. Next entry, please. April 14, 2021.
Still wish that bottle I took would have killed me. Feel worthless, unloved, used, and miserable with a sad face. Why am I here? How can I escape?
All right, and then there was a notes section in the back of the journal?
That's correct.
Okay, we're going to ask you to read.
All right, so if he's having a relationship online with some other women, that could possibly be a motivation to want his longtime girlfriend out of the picture. Let me see what my guest thinks. I have on the program attorney Alexis Rosenberg this morning. Okay, Alexis, your thoughts on whether this may be the motive prosecutors are presenting?
Well, as we know, they're not required to prove a motive. However, juries love motives. So yes, I think the motive of having another woman, but this is just so painful to listen to these entries. I mean, it really is painful, and I'm sure triggering for many of our viewers.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Alexis. It is. I love talking about domestic violence prevention because it's such a tough topic to breach, and it's very common. And I'm sure there are many people watching this program right now who've experienced it, and I want you at home to know you're not alone. There are resources available, and it's so sad that here, for whatever reason, Stephanie Pavlons was unable to get the help that she deserved. She deserved to get out of that relationship safely. And maybe we'll see in the journal why she stayed. But we know that she was almost wishing her life away, wasn't she, Alexis? That's how bad this got.
It truly is sad. I mean, it is a cycle. It could be that she finally got the courage and ability to walk out and leave. And as we know, domestic violence, that is the most dangerous time when the person who is, assaulting them believes they're losing control. It usually escalates and it becomes the dangerous time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll see if she communicated her intent to leave him on that day when they went to that doctor's appointment. Friends at home, stand by. This trial continues in Wisconsin. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant in Florida. We've got a defendant on the stand, Alicia Andrews, testifying in her own defense. This is in the case of the ambush shooting of rising rap star Julio Fulio. You're going to see all the testimony later on today. We have certain court restrictions that don't allow us to air it live because of names we have to drop out. So I promise you our editors are hard at work, and you're going to see her testimony in a little while. This morning, we also have our cameras in Wisconsin in the bad boyfriend murder trial for defendant Matthew Pahl. This guy's accused of murdering his on-again, off-again girlfriend of 20 years, Stephanie Pavlons. The two also share a child together. Let's go back in the courtroom now. So what we're seeing is potential motivation for the killing. This defendant was communicating with other women online, and a detective is going over his text messages now.
Do you is it up?
It's up.
Okay. Do you recognize this document, sir?
Yes.
What is 148?
These are the phone contacts between Matthew Pahl and his father, Marvin Pahl.
And what's the date range on this?
The date range is June 21st of 2022 through September 17th of 2022.
And is this a true and accurate summary of the phone records detailing contact between Matthew Pahl and his father?
Yes.
Move to admit 148 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Any objection? No, sir. All right, 148's admitted. Go ahead.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit, please? Make it a little easier to read. Okay. I'm not going to have you read every one of these.
Thank you.
There's the good news. But I'd like to start at the top, and the very first entry, excuse me, is for a date of June 21 of 2022?
Correct.
Did they have telephone contact that day?
It appears they had a short duration. There was a short duration phone call.
And these are Matthew Pahl's records, so incoming means that his dad was calling him?
Correct.
Okay. So line 1 suggests that his dad called him. It was a 19-second phone call on June 21 of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The next line I see is the date of August 26, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Were there any calls or phone contacts between Matthew Pahl and Marvin Pahl that are not on Exhibit 148 from June 21 to August 26?
Not with the number that we have from Marvin Pahl.
Okay. So it was about 2 months since they had last spoken, according to the phone records that we had available.
Correct.
Okay. And on that date of August 26, it appears Matthew called Marvin, correct?
Yes.
And they spoke for a period of 7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Correct.
The next day, Marvin calls Matthew and they speak for over an hour.
Correct.
Hour 23 minutes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. On the date of September 9th, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1306. Well,
Yep.
1210 and 1306. There's 2 phone calls from Matthew to Marvin, both about 17 minutes in length.
That's correct.
Okay. And then on the date of September 11th
I see a 49-minute call from Marvin to Matt.
Correct?
And on the 14th, there's a 32-minute call
Correct?
from Matt to Marvin.
That's correct.
Okay. And this is, unlike the Skype messages we were just talking about, this is a full excerpt of telephone records of the contact between these two men from this date range, correct?
Correct.
Okay, there's nothing outside of this that we didn't put in the chart.
Not between Matthew Pahl's number and the phone number for Marvin Pahl, his father.
Okay. Now, the last entry there is on September 17th of 2022, around the hour of 1500, which is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, correct?
Correct.
What was occurring with your investigation at that time?
At that point, there was a search warrant being served at Matthew Pahl's residence.
Okay. All right. Continuing with items recovered from Matthew Pahl's 2022 cell phone. Were you able to review his web browser history from that device?
Yes.
And were you able to see searches that he may have conducted on the web on that device?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to put up for the witness only, please, 151. Do you recognize 151?
Yes.
What is 151, please?
151 is the search history from Mr. Pahl's cellular phone that was taken on September 17th, 2022.
Okay. And is this a document that you generated?
Yes.
How'd you do that?
We take, when we do the forensic download, it's like a Cellbrite is the program that's used. You're able to tag certain items you find for evidence or pertinent items to your investigation. And those items you can flag and then generate a report, which will just pull those out as opposed to the entire phone.
Sure, so he may have been searching for recipes or something, but that wasn't relevant to you, so you wouldn't flag that or tag it.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's other searches, but these are the ones that you thought were relevant to this investigation.
Correct.
Okay. Is this a true and accurate representation of the search history or the web history that you reviewed on Mr. Pahl's 2022 phone?
Yes.
Move to admit 151 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No, sir.
It's admitted, and you may publish.
So in this exhibit, the date and time is actually in reverse order, correct?
Yes.
So that the most recent search he had completed prior to the phone being seized is at top, and then we're going to go down.
Correct.
Okay. So tell us what we're looking at here before we dive into this too much. Can you just explain the various columns, the ones that are relevant or that contain information?
So it'll show, it says title is that, I guess that second box or second column. That'll be the title of the website that a person went to. Then the URL will be the website itself. It'll show the last date that the website was visited, and then the next one will have the last visit. It'll also have the date and the time.
Okay.
And farther over, it goes through. It'll show source was Chrome. That would be the browser that they used to search. And then it shows evidence created, tags. That's us marking that as an evidence. And then it goes through the source file information. I can't speak to everything on the source file information on the fact that it comes from a Samsung.
Mr. Matthew
Pahl's
device.
Correct,
Okay.
it was a Samsung.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go back over, and again, not going to have you read all of these, but just kind of start with first page here, and let's kind of talk through this. These are all searches from the date of September 17th of 2022?
Correct.
And around the time of 12:27 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay. So the first one is a search for what?
It is a Waukesha County obituaries.
Okay. Keep going down, please. 3, row 3.
Thelen, it's Thelen. Funeral services, it's a funeral home in North Prairie.
Okay. Couple of searches for the funeral home, correct?
Correct. And there's
Then row 5.
row 5 is it's a search results for Pavlons.
Same thing in row 6.
Correct.
Okay, row 7.
Again with Waukesha County obituaries.
Again with the funeral home.
Correct.
Okay. Keep scrolling, please. Okay, let's stop on row 10.
That was, it says dead body found by construction crew in Delafield, Waukesha County News, and it says gmtoday.com.
And what do you know GM Today to be?
That's the Waukesha, like Freeman.
Okay, that's their website.
Correct.
Okay. And when was that search occurring?
That is September 17, 2022. It says 12:22 p.m.
All right. Did you ever get a chance to review that article? Was there an article published in the Freeman related to this investigation?
Yes.
And it was available online as well?
Correct.
Did you ever get a chance to review that article?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask to leave 151 for a minute and put up 159. Just for the witness, yes, thank you.
Oh, you can tell a lot about a person by their internet search history, can't you? We see this time and time again here on Court TV. I can't wait to bring in my next guest, legal analyst Joe Tamburino on the show, practicing criminal defense attorney in the private sector, former prosecutor as well. Joe, good to see you. Oh my, Mr. Pahl. Talk to me, Joe. What are you thinking as you're listening to these searches?
Well, thanks, Julie, for having me on. They're highly damaging. I mean, I don't know what kind of a defense he's putting on. I mean, obviously, he's not saying he's insane. He's not saying it was self-defense. He's not saying someone made him do it, like coercion. He's simply just saying innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't do it. But the evidence, I mean, you've got everything from her journal. You've got his writings. You've got what we've going on right now. You got the physical evidence that they were last seen together. And when they left, she had the same clothes on as when the body was found. It's just an overwhelming amount of evidence.
It really is. And you bring up such a great point. I'm so glad you did, Joe, about what is the defense. We have yet to see it. I looked back at some of our team's notes, our team in the courtroom there from day one of this case. We've had so many trials going on. I didn't get to see the start of this case. So looking back at what was said, there's a hint at there won't be enough science to prove how she died. The opening statement from defense counsel said something to the effect of, we still don't know the cause and manner of her death because the remains were skeletonized, as you know, Joe, by the time she was discovered in that field. And so there's that. And then there also seemed to be a hint from counsel about perhaps this was a suicide. Because we know in the journal that you referenced, right, she's really in a state of despair. And so I'm wondering which theory they're going to proceed, just innocence grounds, Commonwealth, you can't prove their state, you can't prove this, or she died by suicide. Don't really know. I don't know if they know, Joe. It seems like they're throwing a couple things out there, huh?
Well, yes. I mean, they probably have nothing else to work with. I mean, we've all been in those situations where you're defending someone and you don't have a good case. So you got to grasp at some straws and think, okay, well, what can I use to defend my client? And going back to the whole situation of cause of death, sure. I mean, if the prosecutor can't prove cause of death, that's something that will help the defense. Or if there's some evidence, as you have referenced in the journal, that there could have been some type of suicide. The problem for the defense in this case is all of the other evidence. If this was simply that she just disappeared from the apartment one day, they were not together, there is no journal that says bad things about him, he doesn't have a crazy search history, there's no Filipino woman connection. If all of those things didn't exist, who even knows if he would have been charged? But it's all of that other ancillary type of evidence that's surrounding the case that gives the state a good case.
Oh, excellent points you're making there, Joe. Yeah, you're so right. You know, with him being the last person she was with before she vanishes, and it's on video, you're right. If she had just gone off on her own without all these other bad facts, yeah, we probably wouldn't be here. You're exactly right. I'm being told we're going to hit our first break of the hour. Joe, stand by, please. When we come back, we'll hear more from this detective. We will also keep monitoring things in Florida for you with that defendant on the stand in the trial over the death of rapper Julio Fulio. We're getting all the testimony edited for you so we don't broadcast anything we shouldn't. Thank you for watching Court TV Live on this Halloween morning.
Abby Werner, she was a teacher who was shot by her student. Her student was 6 years old.
She is now suing for $40 million.
They need close security, they failed to act, and Abby was shot.
Proper protocol was not followed. Their side battling that it is part of the job, just outrageous.
The first grader shoots teacher civil trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Happy Halloween to you. I want to show you our trial tracker on this Halloween morning. In Connecticut, we've got defendant Kimberly Sullivan back in court for a hearing today. This woman is accused of holding her stepson captive in her home for more than 20 years. In Florida, we've got defendant Alicia Andrews on the stand right now. She's accused in the ambush shooting of rising rapper Julio Fulio. We're going to roll out all of her testimony for you coming up this hour. And testimony continues in the bad boyfriend murder trial for defendant Matthew Pahl. This man is accused of murdering and concealing the body of his longtime girlfriend and the mother of his child, Stephanie Pavlons. Her remains were found in the woods back in 2022. Let's get you into the courtroom. We've got a detective on the stand, and he's pulling some text messages from 2022 with the defendant communicating with some women internationally and also doing some searches for funeral homes and obituaries. Let's watch.
Which was also dated June 30th of 2022. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Okay. All right, let me put up, what's the number on that one? Do you remember? Was it Friday? Yeah. Sorry, Judge, we've located it. 204. For the witness only. Well, no, this has been admitted and published. So we'll put that up, 204. Remember now that Mrs. Pavlons had shared this with you and Detective Fredericks?
Yes.
And this is what Stephanie put out so that anybody that was friends with her on Facebook would see it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now if we could go back to 188, please. And the first thing we see is an entry from Andy on that date of June 30, 2022 at 7:17 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And he says, I'm always your friend, right?
Correct.
And then around this time of June 30, all of the other entries on this page 1 are conversations between Stephanie Pavlons and Andy Zakos, kind of sharing their feelings with each other and indicating that they, or Andy basically says, they talk about getting together, right?
Yes.
And Andy shares that he's been depressed, correct?
Correct.
And the middle of the page at 11:02 p.m. UTC, which is Universal Time, correct?
Correct.
And so we have to do some math if we want to know the time in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Correct.
-5?
Yes, -5
Okay.
this time.
And so she writes, I've been in a dark place myself for a little while now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then she goes on and says, I'm sorry about how your son made you feel. I do know how that hurts deeply, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then at the bottom there, Mr. Zackos continues to say how depressed he is and he's upset and he's crying.
Yes.
And she replies, Stephanie replies at 23:53 UTC. Yes, plus feeling like your existence is worthless and hurtful to others. I feel like I don't even deserve to breathe air, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then they keep scrolling down, please. They continue this conversation. On July 1 at 01, or at the time of 0001 UTC.
Yes.
What is Stephanie right there, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Please know that you are not alone and realize that kids sometimes don't realize how bad they hurt parents' feelings in the heat of things.
And what's the next thing she says?
I will say a prayer for you. Sounds like we both need some fun and healing.
Okay. And then Andy replies,
It's been almost 4 weeks of tears. Now the tears start flowing again. When will the pain go away?
what does she say?
It's IDK, so I don't know. Still working on it myself.
Okay. And if you could please scroll down. Keep going. We're going to move further down. They continue to have some conversations on July 1st, July 3rd, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. Zackos is explaining about the argument or the disagreement he had with his son, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Keep going. Keep going. We're going to, oh, okay, go back up, please. All right. So now we're on like the July 21 of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And she says, or I'm sorry, he says at 10:41 UTC, I've been depressed a lot, happiness is gone, right?
Correct.
And what does she say?
Maybe we can change that.
And Andy's reply?
How?
And she says?
By getting together Saturday if you're not busy.
Okay, keep reading the exchange, please.
Contact me later when you're not busy, all right? Andy replies, after 2:30. Stephanie replies, yes, that's fine.
Then on the date of, there's apparently no more contact between them on Facebook, right?
According to the records, yes.
Okay, and then on August 18th of 2022, what does Stephanie say?
Hey, Andy, how are you doing? He replies, I'm okay, just relaxing. Stephanie replies, I'm bored and starting laundry. Want to get together tonight.
Okay, Andy says what?
What city are you in these days?
And Stephanie says?
You could come out to Delafield and we could get some dinner.
Okay. We're on page 7 now. What do we see on page 7?
That's a picture of Miss Pavlons.
Okay. Can you tell where this picture is taken?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you observe the black vest that she's wearing in this picture?
Yes.
Okay. And it appears she's got somewhat of a smile on her face?
Yes.
Okay. All right, keep going down to page 8. Okay, so after, did Stephanie send that picture to Andy? Is that what that means?
Yes.
Okay. And then after she sends that picture, what does he say?
He replies, I have my son here, plus I work in the morning. Stephanie replies, how well does he eat/behave? I'm very friendly and could really use some company. Andy replies, we already ate dinner, that's why I'm relaxing. What's wrong that you could use some company? And it shows that Stephanie called Andy.
Okay. And they talk for how long?
The duration is, it says 11:36.
Okay. And then the next entry on August 19th, 2022 at 0133 UTC. This is from Stephanie?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
It just says, and I'm sorry about not getting back to you. I ended up putting the closing, the dryer, and then I put some makeup pond, and I don't know what I thought. I was gonna go maybe into one of these bar/restaurants, but I just ended up going to the gas station and picking up some Blue Moon. I'm out walking. I put some shoes on that I got at Good Grill, and they're absolutely killing my feet. So I took them off, and I'm walking barefoot outside, listening to my music, so I'm okay. I just wanted to apologize. I'm sorry for not calling you back sooner. Give me a call tomorrow if you want.
Okay, and then Andy replies?
He ended up stating, okay, I'm in bed.
Okay. And that was the extent of the Facebook messages between Ms. Pavlons and Mr. Zakos starting in June of 2022 through August 19th of 2022.
That's correct.
Okay. Did you also find Facebook messages that appeared to have been on Stephanie Pavlon's account, but sent to Sherlyn Valente?
Yes.
I'd like to display for the witness only 152. Do you see 152 on your screen, sir?
I do.
Can you please identify it?
This is going to be a Facebook exchange contacts between Stephanie's Facebook account and Sherlyn Valente.